All right. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome to Board of Commissioners meeting Wednesday, November 6th. You guys don't mind? Stand and join me while I deliver the pledge and invocation tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Join me in prayer. Lord, we pray tonight that you watch over this Board of Commissioners as we make decisions. Help guide us to make decisions that are right for the residents of Anger. Lord, please watch over our Anger police and first responders as they protect and serve us day in and day out. Lord, we are thankful that the elections are over. We do pray, however, that you help the people of Anger, Harnett County, North Carolina, and the country come together, put our differences aside, and work together in this time of transition. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, first up, we have all got the agenda here. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
I make a motion we approve the agenda as written.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. For consent agenda tonight, we have the minutes from the last two meetings. I assume you guys have had time to review them. There's no input. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll go ahead and approve the minutes as it's written for the consent agenda.
All right. All those in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. All right. Before we get started with too much stuff, it is my honor to administer the oath of office to our new town clerk, Elizabeth McLean. This is my first oath of office, so I'm going to try really hard not to mess it up.
Stand beside Bob, make sure he don't
That's all
mess it
right.
up.
I wore deodorant tonight. I won't mess it. They wrote it down.
Oh, well, we're good.
Okay. Are you ready? Yes. Repeat after me, please. I, Elizabeth McLean,
I, Elizabeth McLean,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and
the
laws
Constitution and laws
of the United
of the
States
United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office as town clerk.
the duties of my office as town clerk.
I will be faithful
I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and to the state of North Carolina,
and to the state of North Carolina,
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor
and that I will endeavor
to support, maintain, and defend
to support, maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Well, that's it. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that was exciting. Let's move on to the next very exciting thing. Elizabeth is going to present to us about the lead service line update.
Good evening. I just wanted to share some information with the board and as well with the public about the lead service line find and replace project that the town is undertaking. In 2021, the EPA established new rules regarding lead and copper materials that may be used in water lines. All public water systems are required to conduct an inventory of their service lines, which the town of Anger has already done. A service line is the line that brings water into your home or business. After the initial inventory, Anger identified 1,064 unknown status of materials and 1 galvanized material for the service lines. So these folks will receive a notice in the mail, and it looks like this. And then there's 2 other documents. There's a question and answer document and a survey to determine what type of material your service line is. Andrew received funding from the Division of Water Infrastructure to locate and replace service lines that may contain galvanized or lead components. The scope of work of the project is listed in the agenda. I won't read all of that to you. So the town is required to send these notices by November 15th, and our customer service and utility staff have been working hard on that. As I said, there's 1,065 affected customers. I do want to state that the town regularly tests their water, and we have not shown a presence of lead. We're just trying to make sure that we inventory all of the service lines, and should they need to be replaced, that they are.
All right.
Do we have an idea where these lines are located?
Yes. I mean, I don't have that list in front of me, but our Public Works crew has an inventory of every utility account, which is over 4,000, and they know the material of 3,000-ish of those, and they don't know the material of 1,064, and 1 was galvanized. So if your home was built after 87, then you're good.
All right. Any other questions for Elizabeth? Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, at this time, we're going to do a public comment. First meeting of the month. Anyone may speak on any issue. We don't have any public hearings tonight, so this would be your only opportunity to speak. Before speaking, please state your name and address. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes so we can keep this moving. And we also will likely not address your comment at this time, but we may direct you to staff. We've got one signed up for tonight, Miss Denise Galloway. If you'd like to join us up here, speak right in that microphone.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, town staff, good citizens. My name is Denise Galloway, 5953 Cokesbury Road, Fuquay Arena, North Carolina. I did grow up in Harnett County, so pretty happy about that, right down the road in Irwin. The reason I'm here tonight is just to introduce myself to some of you who I have not already met. 30 years ago, I was a military journalist. I was in the United States Army for 4 years active, 4 years reserve. Wrote for the Post newspaper. Long story short, got married, had kids, life happened, moved on to other types of jobs. I've recently reignited my journalism career. Some of you may have noticed that on the front page of the Daily Record. So the Daily Record and I have struck up a deal that I'm going to be their freelance Anger correspondent. So if you have any news that you'd like to share about Anger residents, my favorite kind of stories are stories about interesting people or fascinating perspectives that are related to Anger, let me know. I'm going to share some information later this week, how you can get in touch with me. But until I have that in hand, they're going to give me cards and newspaper email that I'll share with all of you. Until then, if you want to get in touch with me, I think if you reach out to Elizabeth or Mayor Bob, they can direct you to me. Thank you.
There's one thing we have in Andrew, it's interesting people. So. All right, that's all we have for public comment. So we're going to move right into new business. New business number 1, Withers Ravenel, Lift Command Scope of Work. Mr. Glenn Fleming, I believe, is here to join us and present that.
I'll just briefly introduce the topic, and Glenn is here in case you have any questions.
Okay.
It's a software that allows the town to track actual and promised sewer capacity. The cost is $26,000 for one time, which has been budgeted in planning, along with a comprehensive land use plan, and the yearly software maintenance and hosting is $4,500. And I'll turn it over to Glenn.
Okay. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being here. As town manager indicated, this is intended to be a complementary effort to your comprehensive land use plan, which we're just getting underway with now. I believe at your October 1st meeting, in addition to seating the steering committee, which will work alongside our staff as we seek to adopt or craft and adopt that plan. You also acted on the first of two Withers Ravenel contracts associated with that effort. So here this evening to seek action on the second of those contracts. This really contains two bits of work, the first of which is some utility infrastructure master planning. This will be where our staff goes in and seeks to take a little bit of a look at your wastewater collection system with the intent of identifying any areas in the system where you may have available capacity to serve new development, as well as any areas in the system where the advent of new development might trigger the need for some capital improvements. That information will be used to inform the recommendations that ultimately go into your comprehensive land use plan. In addition to that, there's some software setup and implementation included in this. It's a software package called Lift Command. This will assist town staff both now and in the future in terms of better managing and better tracking wastewater capacity allocations as they come in, and in better managing the permitting and compliance aspect that goes along with that. So I'm happy to entertain any questions you may have on this matter. Otherwise, I believe you do have a staff recommendation for approval in your packet this evening.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Fleming?
Just one. So you said 4,500 per month. Is it 45 yearly as indicated on our packet, or is it 4,500 per month? That's a big difference. Okay.
All right, no further questions. I'll entertain a motion on the board.
I make a motion to approve the agreement with Withers Ravenel for the Lift Command software.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, number 2, another Withers Ravenel scope of work for our new town park. Mr. Brian Starkey will be joining us.
Yep, I just want to introduce Brian, and Brian's basically going to give you guys the Cliff Notes version of what was sent to you in your packet. If you have any questions, feel free to ask him. He's the expert here, and we're just kind of along for the ride.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Does that go full screen? The images are a little squished. Might look better if it goes full screen. I mean, it's okay, but yeah, a little better. Okay, well, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to present our proposal for Phase 1 construction of Angier Town Park. We've had the pleasure of working on this project since 2021. Some of you I know were on the commission then, but maybe some were not. So I've got a little bit of a history lesson just to walk you through it, and then walk through a couple points of our proposal also. As I stated, we began preparing the master plan for the town park in 2021, finishing it in March of 2022. In May of this year, working with town staff, we helped define what would be the scope of Phase 1. Our sub-consultants on the project include Huffman Architects for architecture services, 35 North for construction cost estimating, and Southern Engineering for geotechnical investigations. So this is the 110-acre site, which some of you, well, there we go. The 110-acre site, which was previously, as most of you know, probably used as a spray field, and until recently was landlocked. When we did the master plan, there was really no way to get to that 110 acres. As part of the first steps in the master planning process, we did our due diligence. We went out and did some preliminary wetland investigation, took note of the topography, vegetation, and other opportunities and constraints for development, what would influence development, access to utilities, and other site attributes. We also conducted some community engagement during that process. Both in person, you can see the mass. We were kind of on the heels of the pandemic, but we had in-person events, and we also did virtual community engagement with surveys and so on. We had pretty good turnout. We were pleased with the turnout we got. And this really gave us a great idea of what the community was looking for, and working with staff, what they saw as recreation needs for the residents of Angier as well. So through that process, we came to understand what recreation opportunities were important to the community and the staff. This is the final master plan. A pretty robust offering of recreational opportunities, everything from athletic facilities to walking trails to a splash pad to playgrounds, and of course everything that goes along with that. There is on this site a fair amount of wetlands, so it's really a great balance between active recreation and passive recreation, opportunities to engage with nature but also play ball, play pickleball, play baseball. All those things are important to recreation. At that time, we estimated the full build out to be somewhere between 13 and 20 million. I know that sounds like a giant spread, but at a master plan level, there's still a lot of variables at work. A lot of decisions hadn't been made, and we, at that point, did not know what our access to this 110 acres was going to be, whether that was going to come from Guy Road, whether that was going to come from Hunter's Way or Campbell Street. And I think, if I remember correctly, we kind of landed on a worst case scenario, and that was to come from Guy Road, which was the greatest distance. So phase one, you can see a connection across to Campbell Street. The phase one program, and we did this in May of this year, got with town staff and defined phase one park implementation, including the idea of accessing Campbell Street. The program for phase one includes a baseball field, multi-purpose fields, 3 pickleball courts, playground, walking trail, a multi-purpose building, and of course supporting infrastructure in terms of parking and utilities. I'm sorry this is small and it's on 2 pages, but the bottom line is that in May we also did an estimate of probable construction costs for phase one, which turned out to be almost 10 million, which was a little high. So we took another hard look at it and really landed on a budget between 5 and 6 million for phase one for the town park. This, again, I apologize that's small, but this is the access to Campbell Street. During the master plan process, park access was evaluated. As I said, we looked at Guy, we looked at Hunter's Way and Campbell Street. And in July of this year, the town acquired access across the adjacent property to Campbell. So now we've got a way in. So the rest of my slides here are really what's in your packet in terms of our proposal. There are a couple things I wanted to touch on just briefly. You saw an image similar to this. This is 110 acres, the access to Campbell, and phase one. Timeline for services is the first thing I wanted to touch on. Basically, it's going to take about a year to get this survey, design, due diligence done, and get permitting done. So getting the document specifications done as well as getting the permitting done. And then it's probably going to take about a year to get it constructed. I think we're being a little conservative there. Weather always gets in the way. But so hopefully within 2 years from us getting started, there'll be kids on the playground and folks on the pickleball courts and so on. Scope of services really runs the gamut. I mean, what we're providing this proposal is full services from due diligence and surveying all the way through construction to provide services beyond the development of plans, helping you all through the bidding process, and being on site during construction over those 12 months. And you can see some of the due diligence, topographic survey, SUE, tests for utilities, the fire flow tests, wetlands delineation, a lot of due diligence to make sure that we know what we're working with. Geotech investigations, particularly where we're going to have the building, where we're going to have parking. So testing the soils, make sure that we get the right details on the plans to in response to the soil conditions out there. I imagine after we joke about it, as a spray field, it's probably one of the most fertile land in Harnett County. But, working through laboratory testing for the geotech and all that, and then we will have a preliminary design effort. Once we get the survey done, once we know exactly where the wetlands are, once we get that geotech information, the phase one implementation plan that I showed you will probably get tweaked just to respond to those conditions and what the survey finds out. These are a list of the plans that become, we do the construction drawings in 3 phases. It's schematic design, which is about 25% complete construction drawings, and design development at 65% complete, and then final documents at 100% complete. As part of that process too, we do construction cost estimates, and in the proposal there are 2 places where we'll do construction cost estimates, one at design development and one towards the end, close to the end of preparing the final construction documents. That's that. Stormwater management is also a big component of this project. Permitting, we've got to get DEQ permitting for erosion control, utility permitting, of course, building permits for the building. And then we get into construction management. Typically we're out here every 2 weeks conducting monthly progress meetings with the contractor, reviewing pay applications, submittals, requests for information from the contractor, and helping the town through that process. I did mention architecture, and we do have an architect on our team who we've worked with on a number of park projects, actually. I have over the last 20 years. The building that Derek and his staff have in mind is multi-purpose, everything from concessions to storage to office space. And so we've talked through the scope of that building a little bit. But we still have a lot more conversation to do. And then project closeout, stormwater certification. We are your representatives during construction on the project site, making sure basically, simply put, that the town of Angier is getting what they paid for and holding the contractor to the letter of the law in terms of the details and the construction of the facilities and features at the park. There are a few client responsibilities that are listed. For example, providing access to the property and the payment of permit fees and things like that. I didn't mention this list, which is exclusions and additional services. I was schooled early in my career that it's important to put in a proposal what you're not going to do in addition to what you are going to do. So that's what this is. I mean, some of the exclusions, for example, are flood studies, traffic impact analysis. There are certain things that are not going to be necessary as part of this project. So getting to the compensation for services in your proposal that you have, there's 12 tasks that are defined by the project, sequential tasks, and bottom line is we get to a fee that's about 12% of the construction cost, which is pretty typical in the industry for a project of this type. So with that brief overview, I'm happy to take any questions you all have.
Well, I'm tickled that you are here. Forgive my mic. I have issues. It has issues. I'm glad that you are here to talk about developing 100 acres that's not put more houses on it. So thank you for sticking with us since 2021 and seeing this through. My little honey's submission, is it part of your Axel? Yeah. So
I should have let Axel design.
Well, he'll be tickled to know that we're still moving forward with this. So
he was very engaged.
He was. He's ready. So I still get questions about it. But anyway, so excited that this has got some progress.
Good. Yeah, we are excited about it too.
All right, this is the next step, guys. Any more questions for him? Oh, we've got him. All right, then I'll entertain a motion.
I happily make a motion to approve the agreement with Withers Ravenel for the new town park.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We can't wait to get started. And,
Neither can we.
yeah, it's going to be fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, Jeff, number 3, is going to present to us a voluntary annexation petition. Good to see you, Jeff.
Good to see y'all. Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. Tonight, staff is going to go over a voluntary annexation petition
I started to walk away.
from Travell Construction Corporation for approximately 1 acre located at 749 West Church Street. It's one of those lots right along West Church Street before you get to Honeycutt Oaks, the new subdivision there, that's just not in town, but it feels like it should be. So this developer is wanting to do a residential home there and needs utilities. So he has submitted an annexation petition, and part of that is for you all to pass a resolution instructing the town clerk to determine sufficiency, and that's what we're asking you all to do tonight.
All right, so to be clear, we are not actually annexing it now, but we're just allowing the town clerk to
Correct.
start the process. All right, any questions for Jeff on this one? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we direct the town clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the annexation submitted.
All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Jeff. You have number 4 as well.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Tonight, myself and Elizabeth would like to propose hiring a new code enforcement officer instead of a planner 1 position. We've had a planner 1 position advertised for a little over a month now, and we haven't gotten any applications. So Elizabeth and myself, we've been sort of evaluating needs in my department. And as you all know, we took over inspections back in July. That's going well. That is really going well. Software's working well. We're performing the inspections, that pretty much all the inspections now. There's a handful that Harnett County's doing for us right now, but majority, over 600 inspections per month, getting close to 700 inspections. 35 a day is our average. So hiring a code enforcement officer would move Shannon from having a dual role right now. Right now, he is our code enforcement officer, and he's also our building inspections trainee. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, he is our code enforcement officer, and he attempts to do that job as well as he can, but part-time. And really, he could be full-time a building inspector. So he's going through it with our chief building inspector, Gary Sutton, and he's doing the inspections on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But we have enough inspections that we need 2 people, and quite possibly more, an additional person in the upcoming budget. But we feel like we could hire a code enforcement officer who could sort of take over code enforcement, do some planning and zoning work, and alleviate Shannon having that dual role, and we would be able to focus on both positions, building inspections and code enforcement for the town, instead of having part-time. So that's what we're thinking we'd like to do, and just wanted to sort of get you all's endorsement on that, and answer any questions that you all may have about building inspections and or code enforcement.
Speaking for myself, I think you're probably the most qualified person to tell us how your needs could be better met working with the budget that we currently have.
Right.
For me, if you think this is the right move right now.
So to give a little background or a little flavor of 35 inspections, doesn't seem like a lot, but an inspection can last from 0 minutes to 20 minutes to an hour. And if you've got 17-hour inspections and you've got really 1.5 persons doing the job, our guys are really humping. They're really getting through and having to sort of be in 2 places at one time. So when Shannon and Gary are doing inspections together on the same day, they can split up and they go different ways. Shannon, being a trainee, can do those inspections that take less time and are a little less complicated, and that gives Gary more time to go off and do the more intense inspections, such as finals, rough-ins, conditional powers, and gas, and things like that. So we anticipate having more requests from the building developers world. We are probably limiting the inspections right now just because of manpower, and our builders they're being good and they're holding back. But if we said we could do all the inspections in the world, they would be loading us up 40, 50 a day. If we have that many new homes under construction right now. So we do believe that, you know, transitioning Shannon into that permanent role of a building inspector will not only be beneficial for him, be more training hours, he'll be able to be in the field with Gary more often, and we would be able to hire someone who could come in and focus solely on code enforcement for the town.
So the planner one position has been posted for a month. Is that a vacant
It's
turnover, or is that
it's a
with the,
It's a vacant position right now.
so, it's not someone that's left, it's something that was in this most recent budget
No,
that just
someone-
has never been
No,
filled?
someone left.
Someone left.
Yes.
So who would be taking over that responsibility?
Myself and this new code enforcement officer would be taking on some of those.
So that would be another dual role
For the code enforcement officer?
for the new hire that would be dedicated code enforcement.
Well, I don't think zoning enforcement and zoning permits
Mm-hmm.
and reviewing housing, you know, a house plan or a site plan, that's not a dual role. That is, hey, or a sign permit, hey, you are reviewing this in case there's a problem in the future. That's not really a dual role.
Well, because when I say if you're going to hire a code enforcement officer, generally people believe that to be one type of job. So if they're going to be doing planning related, maybe that it's a planner one / code enforcement. I don't know.
We certainly can look at the
Because
wording.
Shannon had that willingness to want to learn inspections, which is why he's doing the dual role. He wasn't hired in that way, right?
Correct.
I just want to make clear whoever we hire knows they're going to be doing kind of all other duties as assigned, sort of.
Well, I would think that that's the case for all of us. And, you know,
Just
to be-
making sure that job descriptions are clear moving forward.
To understand the ordinance and zoning, you really have to be a part of the process from the beginning all the way to the end. So you know, hey, that's a problem, or I reviewed that and that's not how I reviewed it or how it was permitted. So yeah, I don't anticipate that being a problem. That's pretty typical of a entry-level code enforcement officer, planner, planning technician, is that they would be able to do some permitting, inspect, code enforcement, and not delve deeply into planning, long-range planning, and things
Yeah.
that I'm currently doing.
I think we could probably all agree that dual roles are not ideal, but this seems like a solution that will help keep your department moving forward and staying in the current budget that we've got right now
That's right.
without modifying.
Yeah, we'll certainly be coming back to you all for positions in the new budget year.
I expect so.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Jeff? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we authorize staff to hire a code enforcement officer instead of planner one.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, board.
All right, Jimmy, it says you're next. You would join us up here. We're going to talk about the roof of the police station.
Yes, we're gonna raise the roof. Yes, sir. Good evening, board. Hope everybody is doing well. Before you've got the action form, but before we dive into that, I just want to give you some numbers. Where we met with Bobbitt. We actually met with Bobbitt on October the 29th to get initial cost analysis of where we're at to be able to build the building. And so cost analysis came in at approximately $6.2 million. With that, we kind of looked at some options about trying to save. But before I get into that, some cost exclusions that we did not have in part of the scope of work for Bobbitt. So part of the project, we're going to have to raise the elevation approximately 4 to 5 feet on the property. Can you pull up the one where we got the South Broad Street? So, but in the cost analysis from Bobbitt, they figured in the drainage. So to meet our own ordinance, we had 2 options for the drainage. We could put in ground structures. So this is our property here, this being South Broad Street. So option number one, which is a little bit more costly, if we retained all our drainage on the property and then slowly discharged it, those structures over time are a lot of more maintenance. So the option that we looked at was taking and piping in the ditch all the way down, just past Old Trussell, with that. So they had that cost analysis figured in as part of their grading, so that would not be an additional cost to us. Now, along with that, they're going to bring down curb and gutter along this area, but no sidewalk. So one of the things that we're bringing before you is we got a cost analysis from Bobbitt of roughly $20,000 to put a sidewalk in, but we don't know if we need to do additional grading. So I estimated roughly $30,000 for that. Now that we can take out of our POW bill funds because we can use sidewalk and grading for that. So that's one of the options that that we were looking at. Also, part of the phone data wiring security cameras. So Bobbitt will install the conduit and the boxes for that, but usually a third party does that, pulling the wires and doing the security. So we actually met with Harnett County because Harnett County is our internet provider, is our security provider, and so we're working with them, and we were trying to get some cost analysis for them to do that. We still have to have another meeting with them, so because their third-party vendor was not available at the time. So I put an estimate together, roughly $30,000 for communication and roughly $30,000 for the security to do that. I'll have some better numbers hopefully by the December meeting that we can give you better estimates on that. And also one of the things we looked at is the internet service. So after having conversations with Harnett County, we're looking at a couple options. We've got Ting is available there on site, but we don't know if Ting can provide the service that we need at the police station with the large volume of needs that we have there. So one of the options we looked at doing is taking fiber from here at the library and running a direct line, which will actually be Andrew fiber, all the way down to the police station, and so we can work with that. Now, the cost to probably bury that line is approximately roughly $60,000 to be able to do that. That's a rough estimate that we got from Harnett County. That, because everything we do has to work through Harnett County. To give you an example, with us down there at Public Works Building, I think it's called a VP tunnel. So if we've got multiple people on there between phones and computers, it may kick us off. So we don't have the best working ability, but with only four or five people at a time on the computer, it's usually not an issue. But with the police having up to 25 people out there at a time, that could be an issue. So so that would, like I said, that was approximately $60,000. Lastly, also with a USDA loan, we're required to have a third-party consultant to come in and do the testing. So they test the concrete, they test all the structure to make sure everything is to standard, and so that's an additional cost that's to the town, and we estimated that roughly at $60,000 as well. Now, good news is, after talking with Bobbitt, we think we can save money on the grading here, so they think they overestimate a little bit, so hopefully with those savings, then those numbers will start to equal out a little bit. How much? Don't know if it'll be 75,000 or 100,000, but there is the option for that. So basically, just to break that down, and I apologize for not having this to you because we met with the county on Monday, so I apologize for not having this in your packet. So right now, we're looking at total additional cost for the sidewalk and grading along South Broad Street. So now you'll have a sidewalk all the way, so to go around our existing property, down, and it'll come down here to South Broad Street, right here past Old Trussell, and it'll stop right there. So that estimate was around $30,000, and we projected maybe taking that out of our POW bill fund. And this cost won't come in until we're getting closer to finishing the project. And then the phone and data security cameras, we're going to be a total of $60,000 for that, and I said that was my, best estimate for that, and I'll get some truer numbers as we move along. If we choose to go town-owned fiber, another $60,000, as I mentioned, bringing fiber from here down to the police department for that. And then lastly, the third-party inspections, $60,000. So those last three numbers, we looked at just maybe possibly taking that out of general fund to be able to pay for those. And so that's a total of $210,000 that we're looking at that may be in addition to what the board actually approved. So any questions on the Jimmy Cook math on that one? So
Have you gotten up with Ting to see if they can handle?
we actually have a meeting with Harnett County and Ting Thursday to see if they can provide the services for us. So we've got that set up. So I'm meeting with Ira, Harnett County, and so we've got that meeting set up for Thursday to see if that is possible. If that's possible, then we won't have to bring services from here down to the library.
Perfect.
Eventually, when I was talking with Ira from the county, so what we're talking about long-term is trying to have our own fiber, so to speak, so we've got it here. So imagine it like your house. If this was your house, then the police department would be another bedroom. All right, the planning department would be another bedroom. Then the town hall would be another bedroom, which we would save money in the long run. We would have just one monthly fee for those services instead of individual ones. So that's long term. So
I have a question. If it feeds off one another like that, if there was an issue with service, then everything would be affected?
I'm sorry, say again?
Like if there was an issue with the service, if it's feeding the police station, but there was an issue here, then there's going to be an issue at the police station. Is that correct?
Correct. If the fiber gets cut coming to here, then that contractor is responsible for making that repair. But if it's cut here, then it's cut all along.
Everywhere.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Any questions on those before we get to the action form? Just trying to give you some numbers to let you know, hey, when we get to the action form, to help you make the decision on what you want to do with the roofing on that.
So this is in addition to the 200 you're looking to cut for the roof.
Correct. So
really we're at 6.3, not 6.1.
well, if you take out, if you go with the lesser cost on the roof, then this
Those
may
are
be
covered.
much.
Okay. I'll save my other question for when you get after the roof.
Sure. Okay. All right. And like I said, the data, cable and everything are my best estimates for right now. So we'll get truer numbers when we can meet with those vendors and actually have those truer costs. All right. So if there's no other questions, we'll move along to the action form. So again, we received the cost estimate from Bobbitt for the new police station. Their cost estimate was $6.195 million. Back at May 7th, the board meeting, the board approved $200,000 for interim financing with a budget of $5.8 million, with a total budget of $6 million for our police department. Town staff has looked at project alternates to get those costs below $6 million. So we work with Bobbitt to give us options on this. So option number one would be to install a shingle roof in lieu of a standing seam roof, including wood trusses and plywood sheeting. That'll be a cost savings of about $200,000. Shingle roofs will be a 30-year, and we all know with shingles, you'll have a little bit more maintenance on that. So there's the look with a shingled roof. And the other option is if you go with the standing seam metal roof, it would last approximately 50 years. You have a standing seam here, just like you do at the depot. That gives you the options of what you're trying to picture on that. So then option number two, you can keep the standard seam metal roof and use fund balance to offset the additional cost of the metal roof. Option number three, you can keep the standard seam metal roof and request additional loan funds from USDA. So we're waiting for you to make a decision on which way you want staff to go, and we'll actually contact USDA and ask them to increase the loan amount that we're asking for. Or again, like I said, you could take this out of fund balance and not affect your USDA loan. And I think the USDA loan is what, 3%?
3.87, I think, was the most recent. Yeah.
And so, closing, so your financial impact will be $200,000 if you chose to go with the metal roof. Staff recommends the metal roof. It's less maintenance. We all know you get a windstorm, it blows a couple shingles off, then you got to get the guy up there and 2 stories and, hire somebody to come in and take care of that. If we do the single seam, the metal roof, then it's really no maintenance at all on that. So I just need, open for questions, and then hopefully we can get those answered for you.
Specify in option 1 that the shingle roof would include wood trusses and plywood sheeting. Would it be the same with a standing seam roof?
I think they changed that a little bit to make it cheaper. So you're not looking at shingles or X amount and metal roof is X amount. So
right.
This the structure that's underneath the metal roofing.
Do you know what off the top of your head what the alternative is to wood truss and plywood?
I think
sheeting?
it's metal trusses if we do the metal roof.
I think so, yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Thank you. That's important to me. I don't, shingles come with a 30-year warranty, but in my experience, they last really like 24. They ought to be replaced. That's just in my own personal experience. If we were interested to request the additional loan funds, would that in any way delay or risk the loan?
I don't believe so, but that's ultimately up to USDA underwriting.
We're not being offered that option because it's not an option, right? Like it's been asked if we did request additional funds, that would be an option to us. Is that right?
Yes. The USDA representative asked what our final number was because we're getting very close to them taking it to underwriting. So we need to decide if we're going to ask for more than 5.8 or if we're going to ask for 5.
So they haven't taken it to underwriting yet. So it's not official.
That's correct.
And he did ask us if we needed additional fundings to let him know.
Right.
When we met with him, I think a couple weeks ago, we had a phone.
Do we foresee this to be, if we asked for 6.395, like is that as much as we're going to have to ask for, or is Bobbitt going to come back and tell us that there's, what's the cost analysis going to change over the next?
So we're at probably around 40% as design. So we're not anticipating any changes with that. So the unknowns that we have is when we get to doing the grading in there, that they think they've overestimated that cost. So once that cost comes in, we may have some savings there. Is it going to be 100,000? Is it going to be 75? We really don't know.
Well, and some may be recouped in those additional ones you started out with that they may not be, 30 or.
Right. Because there again, the two unknowns is I don't know what the security cameras are going to cost because we're still in that phase, and what it's going to cost just to pull the wire and data communication for that. So that's the two unknowns. I did my best guess on that, and I'll have some more numbers here shortly. But if the board directed us to request additional fundings in the loan, anything that we went over would just have to come out of our fund balance.
I would hate for us to forego quality for that if we could still ask for more, because metal roofs are cooler in the long run. You run the risk of leaks with shingles more so than you do with metal roofs.
Yes, ma'am.
The roof is the top of everything. It's everything below it depends on the roof.
Correct.
So
Correct.
In that case,
Well, the metal trusses for me too are a big part. It's less susceptible to rot. I don't think we'll see termites, but I mean, if it was up to me, I would want this built. I mean, the rest of brick, aluminum frame windows, and I would love to see this last longer than I'm around.
Yeah.
And that's
So
why
you need a
staff
roof.
recommends doing the metal. We understand that all working within the budget. That's why we wanted to come before you and just try to lay out all the numbers that we had that were available.
was the roof like the most easy to switch out for that 200?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So there weren't any other big ticket items that
We're
were,
not doing like marble floors.
right.
No, just in your office, sir. Now, one of the things that we looked at is we're going to possibly cut back on the furniture. So in next budgets, we may take and if we're short on funds, we'll come to you and possibly just ask for, additional funds in upcoming budgets for, additional furniture if we don't need to. Some of that furniture we're going to take that police already are using and relocate it down to that. So that would be, and that's going to be an ongoing thing. Yeah. Everybody needs some furniture.
I know the chief is pretty handy too. We could send him to IKEA, pick that up, have a party, or we try to read those directly. Right?
And then one of the couple of things that we did to save money on the town side. So we've got a generator that is becoming offline in about a year, and the generator's only a couple years old. So we're taking that and using that at the police station. That's a cost savings, to the residents, and then also that was one of the bigger things of being able to save that. So
Yeah. I know you're making it work where you can, so.
we're trying our best, and we're trying to stay within budget, not come back and say, oh, well, we need this. So.
Not that I'm in favor of having a huge loan amount out there, but if it were to come to quality over quantity, I'm going to go quality. So.
Do you need a decision tonight that includes the first 210,000 thing?
I would, yes, sir. I would request that. That way we can keep Bobbit moving, and so then we can come back. So I think what we're looking for tonight is for you to direct us if you want to do the metal roof or if you want to do shingles. That way we can inform Bobbit. They can go ahead and, finish everything on their design. And then if you want to allow Elizabeth and I to have conversations with USDA and say, look, we want to do $6.3 million on that, if that's what the board recommends.
Will we lose any time if we did that? Or are they ready to go to underwriting?
That's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
Because this is the USDA, this is the federal government, so I can't really answer that. I know that we're waiting for Davenport to clarify some questions they had on the financial feasibility.
Okay.
But they've come to you saying, do you have any additional fund requests? We do.
And it's probably safer to have more than if we don't need it, then we're.
Correct. There again, your options are if you want to make the loan larger with the USDA, and if we can do that, now, versus, okay, no, we're going to stay at this, but then we'll have to take anything additional out of our fund balance.
Right.
So those are your kind of options. Do you want to, just say if it's 300,000, do you want to take and really, borrow $300,000, or do you want to take 300,000 out of your general fund? So.
And in the big picture, 300,000 is about 5% total project cost.
Correct.
Let's start with a motion on the roof, if you guys are ready for that.
I make a motion for option 3, keeping the standing seam metal roof, and request additional loan funds from USDA.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous.
All right, so is there an amount that you want us to request 6.3?
I would, so,
I'm inclined to say
Is
up
that
to.
where we need to be?
We'll do that, and if there's something, we'll reach out to our contact with the USDA, tell them what the board has directed us to do, and if there's
I don't want to be right to the dollar, so is it better for us to say up to 6.5 with your consideration that it not exceed that without coming back to
I
us?
think they're trying, if you want to allow us up to 6.5 without having come back, then I think that'd be great. They need a number for them to lock in.
Right, and I don't want you all to have to wait on us in order to make that final decision. So,
Yes.
Considering what we've heard tonight, keeping our roof, I mean,
I like going 6.5. And then if we don't use it, we don't.
and you
We don't
ask for
use
what
it.
you need, but,
Okay.
then you don't have to wait on us again to,
I don't want to have you come back and tell us, well, the sidewalk costs
Yeah.
a little more than we thought, and where do we want to get that money from? And
Okay.
I'm happy to have a loan that pays for the police station.
Okay. All right.
Do you need a motion on that? Or, all right.
I make a motion, we allow the manager and project manager to request $6.5 million from USDA for the loan related to the police department.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
All right, Elizabeth, you have budget amendment number 6 for us.
Thank you. The town was awarded a 0% interest loan and part grant to identify the lead and galvanized service lines that I talked about earlier this evening. For the 0% loan, we do have to pay the loan closing cost. And this budget amendment is requesting to move money from the Water and Sewer Capital Reserve Fund of $39,976 into the lead service line Fund 32 for the same amount.
All right, any questions for Elizabeth? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the budget for amendment number 6.
All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. All right, Elizabeth, is it going to be you or Derek?
I think it's Derek.
All right. Number 7, open an additional bank account.
Since I've got a coat and tie on, you're always asking me, do I want to come up here and
You
speak?
look good.
Speak
I can't wait till your staff report at the end.
Oh, we got to do that too. I'm actually going to come up one more time. I
All right.
promise. This is resolution R017-2024. So our contracted CPA, Chris Abbott, had requested to us to maybe open up an additional checking account over at First Citizens Bank because we're having a hard time distinguishing exactly how our credit card payments are being deposited in our accounts. It's really vague and it's really random. Me and Elizabeth actually met with Gene Jocelyn last week. He thought it was a good idea as well to do it, and we feel like this way we can separate it a little better than what we've got right now, and we can kind of clear it up and make things a lot more efficient and a lot easier in the long run if we go ahead and do it. It's no extra cost to the town. We haven't gotten far enough along with Gene, but he said we could open up a secondary checking account, and all of the transactions, whether they're online payments or in-person credit card payments or sports registration payments, would go into that account. And we could set it up to where it would automatically transfer into our regular checking account every so often, however many times we wanted to do it, whether it be daily or weekly or monthly, however. But everything seems to be pointing to do this. That's why we wanted to bring it to you guys, because we just need your approval on it.
So it's going to make your job easier, and it's not going to cost the town a penny.
That's the plan.
Well, are there any questions for Derek on?
That's smart.
Then I'll entertain a
That's smart.
motion.
I'm going to make it up because it's not written on my thing. So I make a motion that we give Derek the opportunity to set up a checking account.
Open an additional checking account at First Citizens Bank.
Entertain a motion to approve and deny resolution R017, 2024.
I'll take it.
That work?
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's approved, unanimous.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
All right, Elizabeth is going to present to us a purchasing policy on number 8. That's my understanding that there's still some revisions that need to be made within it. So
Yes.
we will likely table this one, but we would still like to hear about it. And if we have any questions for you, then
Yes.
you could be ready for the next meeting.
So I do apologize. There are a few changes that are yet to be made in the document, but we needed to have a comprehensive set of purchasing guidelines that are in conformity with North Carolina general statutes. Several towns are working through adopting documents similar to this. We had policies here, there, and everywhere, but not a comprehensive kind of one-stop shop. So that's what this is. The thing that I like about it is that it references a general statute, and it references the approval authority of certain items. It does mention a administrative services director, which we don't have, so that needs to be changed. our purchase order threshold is $2,499, and there's a few errors where it says 500. So those are the changes that need to be made, and I do apologize.
Well, I like cleaning up policy. Making stuff. Are there any questions for Elizabeth generally about this? And I would ask for a motion to table this until the December 3rd meeting, if you think that's enough
That'll
time.
be fine, yes.
Okay.
I make a motion we table until December 3rd.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous? Thank you. All right. We're on to the last one. Okay, Veterans Memorial Design. Elizabeth.
So you all approved the overall concept, and there were 4, I will call them plates that make up the wall. So I need your recommendation on if it's going to be 3 plates, and so that's supposed to have, okay, or 4 plates. So that's option A.
This is 3 plates and a statue.
Yes. And that's option 2. I'm sorry. The first one was 1. This is 2. And then that's option 3. And so once y'all decide on the option, Brandon Johnson will be the project manager. And unless there is a significant financial overage or issue with the site, then we won't be back to you, if that's okay.
All right, so the biggest significant differences I see here in design 1, there are 3 panels that would represent first responders, police, fire, and EMS, and a central statue to represent all the branches of the military. In design 2, there's no statue in the center. There are 4 plates, the statue moving to a plate that will represent the military branch. And in design 3, simply just kind of a reverse of the solid plate with a silhouette cut out to just the silhouette. So that's 3 big differences. Hopefully we can make a decision on that tonight and let Brandon hit the ground running on it. Any thoughts? With option 1, 3 panels in the statue.
Option 1 would be my choice. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I make a motion we move forward with option 1 for the Veterans Memorial.
Thank you.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Brandon, go ahead and get things started.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Let's move to town manager's report.
Thank you. I want to thank all of our employees. They've been working really hard. We've had several events. We've had water main breaks because of teeing and construction, and everybody's just been working super hard to move the town forward, and so it's very much appreciated. Wanted to give you all some project updates. The street resurfacing has been completed. At Junie Road, the site of our new water tank, the driveway pipe and silt fence have been installed. For the core water system replacement, engineers are completing permit applications, and we anticipate the contract to be received sometime soon. Most of this work will be done in the downtown area, and Brandon and I plan to have a public information session once those plans are official, the project's been bid, and we can provide a timeline and schedule to business owners and homeowners in the downtown area. Our new park is moving forward, as you all voted to do tonight, as well as the police station. So USDA did accept the NEPA report, which is the environmental report that we had to have done. Davenport will be here to present the financial feasibility report to the board on December 3rd. And they will also include funding of the park in that analysis. David Hill, who we contracted with for the compensation study, presented his initial findings to myself and the HR director. He is hoping to complete the study in the next month or so, and then we will bring the findings before you early next year. And at our next meeting, I'll be updating you on the strategic priorities. And if you have any questions.
Don't. Thank you very much. Is there any other staff that wants to talk about their report? Derek, you're going to join us tonight? Oh, this is exciting.
Like I said, I got a coat and tie on.
Well, you dressed up. You might as well.
There you
Yeah.
go. All right. One really important thing I wanted to recognize some members in the audience for their assistance in the trunk or treat. Mr. and Mrs. Carey, please stand up. Chuck is on our advisory board for Parks and Rec. And Mr. and Mrs. Hall, please stand up. And Kevin is on the Community Development Advisory Board, and they worked their butts off at trunk or treat and did really well. Thank you guys for helping us out.
Thank you, guys.
I'm glad to see them here tonight so I could do that. So didn't mean to embarrass you or put you on the spot, but one thing I wanted to let you guys know, and I know LaRue's not here tonight, but meeting with our Parks and Rec Advisory Board again next Thursday night, Thursday evening, and we're going to try to put some numbers on some naming rights for the new park. Representative Penny and Senator Bergen both told me to get numbers together for them so they could send them out to some of their other members before they go into session in January. So what my goal is for our meeting next Thursday night is to get some numbers for naming rights sponsorships, whether it be corporate, whether it be state funding, federal funding, whatever, and put something on it. And we're going to bring it to the December board meeting and get your approval on it so we can then send it to our elected officials on the state level. Okay?
Great.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Derek.
you.
Like Jimmy's going to join it.
All right. Several months ago, we talked about the tank colors. So I'm going to bring back that before you on the December meeting. So I'm getting a few little final things. Just want to follow up, make sure I've got everybody's request in. So I know we didn't want the blue one. So just to refresh your memory, that's the one that we've got now for Kennebec. That was the white one, which is the same color as the Door Street that just was painted. And then we have the blue one, which I don't think anybody. All right, so I think I had in my notes here that we wanted to see the base black and the bulb white. Is that correct? Okay, any other suggestions? Well, now keep in mind this, now the darker you go, then that makes a difference on trying to keep the tank cool. So when the tank gets warm, then we have issues with, chlorine dissipating from the tank.
One about like a light gray for the base with a white top.
Okay,
Uniformity is where I'm at. So if we can't make Kennebec match, I want to do the same color as Kennebec.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I'm working on getting that proposal
Yeah.
too if we switch them
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
So usually, and it's every, I think, 10 years that
Yeah.
they paint. So we're not scheduled that one for 2028 since it
Right.
was done in 18.
Okay.
So,
That's
but I'll have pricing on that as well. So
Okay.
I'm working on that and also working on the option of this is Anger or the town seal on that. So I'll bring one, a makeup of black and white, and then I'll do one with a light gray base and then a white top. Is that what I'm hearing from the board?
I think we promise.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. That's all I need.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You got about 8 more months before I actually need it in writing. So we're trying to stay ahead of the curve.
All right.
And as Elizabeth mentioned, they have got the erosion control up, got a driveway in there now. So the next part would be the foundation. So they should be starting on that shortly. Steel is not going to be delivered till the March time. So once you see that, then you'll start seeing stuff come out of the ground
Great.
pretty quick.
How's
Love seeing the
the
progress.
pump station coming?
Pump station, so that's been ordered for the booster pump station. So it's just a matter of time. They're basically building it. It'd be like a package station. It'll be set in place. So contractor really can't do a whole lot until he gets that set in place. So, but that's where we're at that. So they've got everything on order. So just waiting for it to be designed and put in. So both of those are in conjunction, and, you know, with the schedule, they should be done sometime in December of 2025. So, all right.
Great.
One other thing, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Windsor subdivision is, the comments I've gotten from a lot of the residents there, thank everybody in Angier for finally paving their road.
Yes, sir.
They
Yes,
are
sir.
very happy and appreciative of that. Thank
Good,
you.
Good. I'll let a contractor know.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jimmy. Jeff, you going to join us?
I'm gonna join you.
All right, Chief, you're next because you're the last one. So think of something to say. That's all right. I
So-
love it.
I know you all have been invited to our kickoff on November 19th. Our kickoff event will be happening in this room at 6 o'clock. It'll be from 6 to 7:30. We'd like to invite everybody in the audience, online. Please let your neighbors know that the comprehensive plan kickoff is happening and we're underway, and we're excited to vision out the town of Angier for the next 20 years or so. So I just wanted to publicly announce that we're kicking that off and invite everyone to come out on November 19th. All right.
Is that a floating 6 to 7:30, or is it sit and listen 6
Oh,
to
that's a good
7:30?
I think it's a sitcom. It can float.
Okay.
There will be a presentation, a short presentation at 6, probably 15 minutes or so. But that all the folks who give that presentation will be floating around throughout the evening and can answer questions and give guidance to those who come after the presentation.
Okay.
We're going to film the presentation as well and place that on our website. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that is open to the public.
Open to the public.
Come and join us. We're going to put
Please.
it on the website, right on the calendar.
Give your think about the future of Angier and come give us some ideas.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right.
6 o'clock on, what was the date?
19th.
Of December, of November. We'll get it on the calendar too, because I will never remember that. But Chief, are you sure you don't? All right. Thank you.
I have absolutely nothing to say, but y'all have my report.
Tell
And
us
I
great.
want-
Tell us something
I want
great.
to thank y'all for our metal roof.
Thank you. All right, so that's it for staff reports. I wanted to say briefly, and I think Elizabeth touched on most of it, that we did just get through Trunk or Treat and our first Dia de los Muertos celebration. And I will say largely on the backs of town staff and their boards, Parks and Rec Board and the Community Development Board carried a lot of weight on those events, and I think they went fantastic. So thank you guys, and thank everyone on those boards, and thank you staff all the way up to Elizabeth for picking up slack and making sure those went really well. So,
Thank you.
Thank you guys. All right, anyone else have a report or comment or something? Drop. All right, so with that, we must enter closed session tonight. So I'll entertain a motion to enter closed session.
I make a motion, we go into closed session to consult with the town attorney. We're going with North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous.